Yeah,
You said I should private
yeah,
chat.
good
I
evening.
private chatted you. You replied, and then you said okay, and you didn't send the link.
Most times I have
Last week
too
was very
many
busy for me.
burpsuite. Yeah. Okay, so you were unable to do anything.
Yes.
Mm. I would encourage you to try and do something because
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't want.
will. Last
Let
week
me
was a very
let me.
busy week for me.
Okay, I'm sending the link for the burpsuite, so you just download it direct. I'm sending it
Okay,
now. It's
okay,
as a
sir.
message.
Yes, I have
Yes,
received
so
it.
you can. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank,
I
thank
have
you.
hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was having a big challenge regarding our assignment. I don't know if I can proceed,
yeah, you
but
can.
I already sent you the result
Yeah.
yesterday. I was able to break through it, but before then, I tried different ways. I try using the one you show us, the one with the brute forcer and uh, is it veteran ram attack, and I also modify different password, the length from 4 to 12. I even left my computer on for about 24 hours, but still I was unable to crack the code using the email address. So what helped me was that I start trying different SQL injection payload. That was what really helped me. And what I used was repeater. I tried using repeater with SQL payload, and I got the email, and I still use the same SQL payload to log into the website. So I was asking, why is it that it was unable to detect in true intruder? Because I use the same SQL payload on uh, on intruder, but it doesn't detect. It's still saying that invalid password or email. But when I use it through repeater, then it brings out the person email address, and I was able to log in through it. So I don't know whether you understand my
Well,
question.
yeah, I understand. Number one, it is because life is not balanced. So, so sometimes there are situations like that. There are situations like that. But one thing is when you're making use of brute force, there are certain ways you can use brute force. I would actually speak on many ways you can actually use brute force today. How you can use brute force to create username. Once you get any website and you want to be an administrator to that website, how you can generate use brute force to become a user, get the administration username, and then work in on how to get the password. We will work on that. Brute force can do a lot of things, but sometimes there might just be a little error somewhere. I can't pinpoint where it would be, but there might just be a little bit of error somewhere. Some people use brute force to break in. A lot of people use brute force to break in. In fact, brute force is kind of simple. And maybe when you set up your brute force, like how many times did you set your brute force?
Um, like what do you mean? Like installation?
No, like you can set brute force into like 20 places just in one particular page. That means
Oh,
if you
okay. Yeah,
set
yeah. I did.
maybe like
I think about 12.
12 and
Mhm.
all the 12, you cross check all the 12.
I cross-set all the 12. It doesn't work. So when I copied the different SQL injection, so I start
Yeah.
imputing it in the putting in a repeater one after the other, and one works. So when I put
Mm.
it there and send it, and it eventually will. But if I use intruder with maybe simple, what is it called? Um, the simple list or Bruford, it doesn't. It indicates it always respond error, error, error.
Mm.
So yeah, but it's
Well,
still the same injection. The same
sometimes
SQL
life
that
is
works on repeater doesn't work on intruder.
sometimes life needs miracle. So maybe repeater is just the
Yeah.
miraculous one there. But the idea for me, I think there might be an issue because brute force is one of the easiest one. There might just be one little error somewhere, but maybe we will
Oh,
cross check while we are working on it. I would encourage you later today. You can work on it while
okay.
our installation is running. All right.
Hello, excuse me, I don't know if
From
I can
my
come in to help with that. From my own
Okay.
experience, I think the issue might be having from the simple listing, the intruder aspect of it is if your URL encode is marked at the bottom part of it, there is this option URL encode these characters. If that is highlighted and then you try the simple list with the intruder, your SQL injection will not work. You will have errors all through, except you're unchecked that URL encode before it will work for you because it happened to me and I had to uncheck it before it finally went through.
Okay, thank you very much.
So please, I actually used this simple list in getting my own password. I actually formed by true guessing. I actually formed a list of words. You understand? So I started, trying them out with simple list. So at a point, I got the password. No. So, but the issue I'm having is that I don't know when I click on the response on the render aspect, the login page is not shown on the render aspect. So I was beginning to ask if it is a fault or is this still okay? Because the operation shows me success 200.
Sometimes it shows you 200, but it might not be complete. You have to look at the length sometimes. When you see the length, then it will tell you if you are successful, depending on the numbers you see there. Depending on the numbers you see there. We will touch on all those stuff today.
So what I observe is just like maybe the site is not working through the proxy because when I look at defense log, it was showing error. There was an error message on defense log, proxy error. So it's like it cannot break through the proxy.
Some people were able to break in.
Yes,
Some
sir.
students were able to break in. I
That is where
think the
I'm.
first, yeah, there was a lady who actually broke in. Like she just dismantled everything. I
So
don't
you
know.
know what? I'm wondering. Some people say they break in, and
Yeah,
well, I don't know. They break in somehow. It depends how they break in.
yeah.
But they
The
shall break
method
in
every
somehow.
yeah
Yeah,
the,
I,
the,
I
the
believe the,
method
the
everyone
method
used
is different. Yeah, even
everyone
I
used yeah.
mhm. Even there's
What
one of a guy that I was speaking with Telegram. I think his name is San or so. The method he used is different from my own method. The method I use a
yeah,
different method. He use a different, but we all go through
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
So
That's true.
different
yeah.
That's
method. Yeah.
So the idea is that you have too many skills and then you decide which one you want to apply. If this did not work, you can just apply another one. And I Mike Usifo, yes, we are live. Uh, all right, let's start with today's class. Is there any other question? Okay, no. Um, One thing is, I'm actually proud in a sense that you guys are taking it serious. In a sense, from this junction, I believe we can as we proceed. All right. Um, Today we are going to touch on two things in Bob suits. One of them is going to be we are going to touch on comparer and we are going to touch on intruder. There are a few things we are supposed to expand on decoder and the rest of it, but I would leave decoder aside today. And the reason why I have to leave decoder is because I want us to run installation. There are some things, some program we would need to run them when we are in apply or operating system we are going to be using for majority of our works. Please let the person mute their mic. Okay, so that's what we are going to be doing today. All right, with that being said, I'm going to teach us something today. One of the things I will teach us is how to generate a username or how to generate email address, valid email address using brute force, how to use a particular aspect of it. I think we have talked about brute force, but there's something we haven't touched about, which is username. Now, there are other things we will touch on, but we wouldn't touch them on using just normal Windows. We will have to take them to Kali because there are certain installation. If you think all these things are here, like we've touched on dashboard, target, proxy, intruder, repara, logger, organizer, extension. And under extension, we still have all these applications here. Though there are few that we will run, one of it that we need to run is Arc Vector, to be able to help us in more of the coding. We have SQL, we have bypass, WAF. So most of all these things, I would like us to run inside Kali Linux. All right. So let's talk about intruder. Now we are going to use Facebook today as an example. How can you generate email address that are very valid, that are valid at that particular time? They are working, they exist. How can you generate even without knowing username? How can you just generate a username as much as you know the what do they call it? Name of the website. How can you use that website to generate your own the website? We are going to touch on that. All right. Let's quickly, should we start all over again? All right, let me close so we start all over. Um, where is this guy here? Burpsuite. All right. So on targets, let's go normal. Our normal procedure is we go to open browser, and then today let's work on Facebook. Let's say facebook.com, and then test PHP. I would, until we install Kali to use that as your assignment, I want you to break in multiple ways. So even if you have been able to break in, today you are going to still practice how can you generate username and the rest of it. Today let's still use test PHP vonweb.com. All right. So we have both of them. Let's go on sign up. Say that my email address tends to be kolawale@gmail.com. How do I know this email is valid? Or I really just want to use this as an illustration. It can be a way to get into admin, but when I'm speaking, I must speak in a terms for educational. Other ways people will now consider that this guy is teaching people something else. So you won't meet me in Ikoyi Correctional Center. Um, the password, let's just put anything as password. We don't know if this email address is valid. But what we want to do is that we want to just this one to generate other email address that are very useful, that then we can now decide what we want to do with those email address. It's more or less like an organization. Maybe they ask you to test their website to see how secure. As a black box tester, my intention is to make sure you can perform as black box tester, you can perform as gray box tester, and you can perform as white box tester. And now the black box tester is more or less like you have no information at all. So even without you having information, you can perform your magic. So let's say Facebook, for example, I would have used some things to tell you that even Facebook admin, you can do a lot of things. But let's just use this as an example. We say login. All right. It says that the email address you enter isn't connected to an account. Find your account and log in. So that means such email address does not exist. Now we can use okay, let's what we do now is we go to this is exactly where we came what I just clicked on. So I have to change the color 200. When you look at it here under the response, you can see that the email address you entered isn't connected to an account. Find your account and log in. So what we are going to do now, and it has gone to intruder. While it's in intruder, the next thing is to focus on that email address. And then we are going to highlight the email address. You can see it here. And once we highlight it, you can add. So for now, there are a couple of words I always say, but please, this is for educational purpose. I always say this, that if I have to be, somebody says your voice is breaking. Please, is my voice breaking?
Your voice is fine, sir.
It was breaking, but it's okay now.
Okay. All right. Um, I always say if somebody wants to be a bad person, there are multiple ways that you can get certain information. Now, in those places, let's say on Facebook now, we want to generate good email address. Now, what do we do? Under this payload, remember we highlight the email address and then we have added, and now the payload
Sir, do we always need to highlight it and then before adding
is
it?
it's always good to put it under like you said what?
Do we always need to highlight it, then add it, then go to payload?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. If you don't highlight it, it's not going to be successful. You ain't going to do anything. So you must highlight it. And when you highlight it, you would observe that there's
Mm,
something like dollar here, a
I think
dollar
that is
sign,
what
something
happens
like
to
a
me
dollar.
because the time I was doing my own, I didn't. Okay, I get the point.
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah, that's
highlight
where the
it.
problem is. Yeah,
Ah,
you must highlight it and click on add. If you don't want it again, then you click on clear. And when you say clear all, you see now that the email address is just there without those with brute force. Brute force is one of the best. So now I've added,
okay.
you can see those dollar sign. So this time around, rather for us to go to brute force, which we can use brute force to actually create it. But what we can do is to create username generator. And when we click on username generator, we can say we need like let's say 100 type of email address. And what we are going to do is we add by typing And before we proceed, read this in this place after we click on the username generator. This payload says configuration. It says this payload type lets you configure a list of names or from this using various common schemes. You can enter items as first name, last name, or first name dot last name at example.org. So it means what you can do is say, John, you have to give an example. You might say admin. I don't want to use admin. So email and then they start panicking. Let's say John Pastor Moto Fefeyin. Let's say John Omotade. We are not sure if it exists, but we say omotade at gmail.com. Gmail.com. Now, when we say John Omotade at gmail.com, we can say add. We can also say at gmail.com. And then we say add. Then we can say also time timileyin or time timi renomokri or something. Let's just use reno at gmail.com. We can only use what we can even use just one, or we can say Tinubu Sheyi at gmail.com. Uh-huh. And now, just with these particular ones, what we can now do is really an attack. We are using it to actually generate something. And now we say start attack. Might take time. You can just observe here showing starting. And now it is trying to create email addresses. You can use that to find valid email address. This Joe should be correct. So let's put that to test and check the response. Now you can see that log into Facebook. This particular email address is valid. That means the only thing we need to do is to now go for the password. But you can create all kind of username, all the username that are actually in the engine of the Facebook. There are some things I can't just see here. All right.
Man of God, man of thought. I have a question, please.
Yeah.
Please, I just want to ask to be sure that when it comes to generating these emails, we have to think of those names and generate them. Is that correct?
What you can,
okay.
In a sense, like if it is, you can use something like ABCDEFGHIJKLMNOP, just A to Z at gmail.com. And then you can put that number as 5,000. It's going to mix them up. And then anyone that is valid to that particular website, it's going to show you. So you don't necessarily need type A to Z, that's ABCD to Z at gmail.com or at that particular website name.com. Then go to number 2, you can type Z to A at that website.com. Then you can go and you type, maybe you can start this time with CABX blah 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 456 789 at that website.com. The moment you set it up, it begins to mix all of them together to create an email address or an admin email address, and you will be able to see the admin username. The moment you get into the admin username, you can go and make that all you need to do is to just use the SQL to break in, because some of them the username might be difficult. Then you can just use this other one to get the username and use SQL to break in, depending. We still have a long way to go. Now, the reason why I know this is valid is because under this
Hello,
length,
sir.
I can see 8,500. Yes, your network is breaking. Your network is breaking. Okay. Now, what you can see is that it is generating all kinds of email. All these ones are not valid. 119, if you click on it, maybe we double click on it and we see response, because this email address does not exist at all in the engine of Facebook. If we click on this response, you can see that it is not valid at all. So the website, Facebook is responding to it to say that this particular individual does not even exist in our search engine. 7,000, I don't think those ones also exist, but you see, the ones that are la@gmail.com, this particular one exists. It can be any website. This, I would like you guys to open your mind, so I'll be able to teach and I wouldn't go too far. This is t@gmail.com. It exists.
Sorry, sir. I want to ask a
So
question,
you
sir.
can see what it's doing together. Let's say for the ones of 70,000, you can see that for the 70,000, anyone that is the 70,000, it is telling us that log into email. That means it is not recognizing that email address to exist in the Facebook search engine at plus. It recognized, oh, Tinubu has Gmail address at gmail.com. So now it's just to go for the password. So in certain organization or most organization, admin, they can create 15 admin accounts. So in the 15 admin accounts, you can decide to start generating. If we were using brute force attack, if it was brute force attack we were using, everything, it wouldn't show you at gmail.com. Everything will be mixed up. Let me just maybe correct us, show us something here. Let's say what we are using here is brute force. Where's that brother here? Okay, let's say brute force attack, and then we add, make sense. It wouldn't make sense, because then do you want to add at gmail.com? It would even throw the Gmail somewhere else. Let's say at gmail.com, and then we put maybe 15, 50. Oh, let's just use maybe 12, and let's say maybe 12 also, and then you say start attack. Let's say we're using brute force. What is the date up? There's nothing as at gmail.com. So it can never be correct to that Facebook. Do you understand the difference? It can never be correct to that Facebook. So what can we use? So we can't use such. The best thing to use is is what we call another example. We can use this. Let's say we want to use is 080. Let's say we want to use something like 80 blah 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 at gmail.com. We can say a admin let me not go there. Let's say Damian f blah blah at yahoo.com. um Collins Damian uh Damian at um out let me not use that. Let me just say at hotmail.com. So we can just add most of all these things together, and we can now say so. First of all, we have this. This is valid. This is valid. This is not valid. This is valid.
Hello, man of thought.
Difference between username generate. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so sorry to cut in. Is it possible? Sometimes people use phone number to open Facebook. Is it possible to also search for
Yeah.
that as well? Okay.
That's exactly what I'm doing. That's why I added those numbers there.
Okay.
So, but we can make the numbers 12. So some people use number. You can use the number to create.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
You can use
Hello, sir.
some people certain things. Something. Yeah.
I think the question is without at gmail.com, can we use it to generate numbers? Without at gmail.com.
Just at gmail.com.
No, without at gmail.com, like ordinary number. People use ordinary number to log in from account, even including
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can use just ordinary number to create it. I think this is still loading. I set it up for it to
So
load
it's going
with
to give us
numbers.
random some
Look at
numbers
it.
like that. Okay.
Look at it here. Look at this particular one. This is 803472376237 blah blah blah. Let it get to this place and then let's. So maybe you are using maybe it's phone number. Yes, you can use it at hotmail.com, at gmail.com, at yahoo.com, at whatever. So your target is if the website has an admin, and which every website have, and they have a domain. Every website have a domain. Most websites, not all. Many websites have a domain, and that domain you have to use the domain name of at let's say it's facebook.com. We can say it should be at facebook.com. That means admin at com or admin at temu.com, admin at hotmail.com. You can use any of all those things to just create your own stunts, and then once you get the email that is aligned with it, then you've gotten that particular if you're looking for the admin, you can actually get an admin through that particular aspect. You can do this to multiple websites. We are only not privileged to say certain things, but you can use it in multiple ways. Okay, let's go back. We're only using so for now it has we have seen about let's cancel this and cancel this, and we are just looking at the 200. This is 8 1000. Okay, I think we have seen this. This is working. So that's why J, now it's only the password that becomes gmail.com. But how would we have known that most of these things exist? The difference is that whatever it brings out for you, and you can see it through the lens, you know that it is valid. This is not about Facebook. It is about whatever website you know that you have gotten a username that is valid to that website. Some people have gotten certain things about CBEX stuff, and they have entered CBEX and they've seen what is going on around CBEX. Why some people are still speaking to international foreign agency. Okay, we have TTs here. This might take time, so let's okay, while it's going, let me start another one, but let me remove this, let me remove this, let me remove this, let me remove this, and let's start another attack. Mm.
Man of Tough, I have a question, please, regarding to this
Yeah,
page you are trying to generate. I see that the first line has no payload, but it's saying it's successful. So what does that mean?
that is the empty part of it, the first empty part of it. The first empty part of it, you just bring it up. It's nothing, no information is added there.
Meaning we can't use
Now,
that.
it's not valid at all.
Okay.
It's just like, yeah, just an empty page. um One thing you need to also bear in mind, you cannot use this without connecting to the internet. You must be connected to the internet when doing this, because what it is actually doing is that it is going into the server of those of the organization or of the website, and is working with all their information that is on the database, and it is mixing them up to note that this one is correct, this one is valid, this one is invalid. So if you disconnect
Very
yourself from
beautiful.
the internet,
Hello, sir. I
some,
I think
yeah,
this yeah this one is not answering my question. The question I'm asking
mm,
is, you consider that some people use ordinary phone number without at Gmail or at anything to create
mm.
accounts and to create logins. Can we use this generator to generate phone numbers without at anything? Like, I'll give you the exact length of phone numbers to benefit of the
Exactly.
login.
Yes, that's what I am showing you here. Yes, 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 yes,
But
yes, you
but
can
this
do that.
one asks, sir, this one asks at gmail.com. It's not an ordinary phone number.
Okay, just phone number without
Just phone number without
um
email.
okay, okay, let's give that a try. Let's say, okay, let's remove this, let's remove this, and let's remove this. Let's say 80765432. How many is it? That 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Okay, and then we say start attack. It wouldn't. Error position no list specified. Okay, add, and all right, it has been able to get Wow. These are valid. This is valid. It might be to another, to a different country. So this is valid. These are not valid. So you can't use this feature at the moment because this is not valid. This particular number is not valid. This one is valid. So it says 807 is valid. Many of them are actually valid. This is valid. I believe that has answered your question.
But excuse me, sir. This I know I'm in class. This answer is not very crazy, sir, because there is no how someone is going to log in into Facebook, particularly with this kind of number like 80, 76, 54. It's going to be invalid if you take it to Facebook website. You can just try that. So
Look at the ones that look at the ones that are invalid here. This 66 that shows 8076 tells you that it is invalid. You can't use this feature at the moment. The reason is this: you have to look at it. There are certain privilege that they give to certain individuals in a different country. It is not only Nigeria that have Facebook that are using phone number. Just because you see 807 blah 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 does not mean it's only Nigeria. There are certain people that they give certain privilege to when you are in a different country. The only thing you are doing is that you are having access to those particular things. How many
okay,
has
sir.
this?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, because
I'm getting it.
like Nigeria, they don't give us a lot of privilege. But what we have done here is that we have been able to see that there are people who are actually using it. Now, if it is not in their engine, if it is not in their engine, it would only show you a lot of it is in their engine actually. A lot of these numbers are in their engine. I think the only one that is not in their engine is this particular one. That is why I say you can't use it. And when you look at it from you will see that the commands, when you look at this page, you see that it affects the website in a sense that it affects their coding. So US, they give them certain privilege. China, they give them certain privilege if they use Facebook. Taiwan or maybe Egypt, some of them use some kind of phone numbers. You can also, let's say we are done with this, we could say we add other numbers too. Let's clear this one off, remove, and then we add this, and then we do this, and then we add it, then we do this. Oh, sorry. Then we do this, and we add it, and then we just say, okay, give me 300 times. Now, one of the things you need to realize is that because it is on internet, I don't know how to really explain it. Because you are on internet, it mostly use the server to create the things that are already valid in that server of that website. Now, if we carry temu.com or jumia.com and we bring these numbers there, most of them would not be valid. Why are they not going to be valid? Because Temu does not operate in that way. But Facebook give privilege for some people to use phone number or different numbers and the rest of it. Even Facebook allow virtual numbers. And because of that, most of them are valid. And this is not specifically to Facebook. This is, and why are we seeing, okay, most of it are just valid here. Yeah, most of them are valid here. So it's directly using, it's more or less using the database of the organization to create the information it's giving to you. Now, it's going to make some errors, but most likely it will give you information from that website that is actually valid to their database. There are billions of people that use, let's use the word millions, but there are millions of people that you, we are not talking about 50 million people here. We are not talking about 200 million people that use Facebook. So most of them have different kind of privilege. Some of them, they buy it, how it goes. But you can use this to create for any organization or for any website. I really don't want to bring too many websites in. Let's say people should not go and start the way you guys are getting all these things. We need to be careful. Now, let's say it want to use Bet King. Should we use it? Should we use Bet King? Okay. Um, for example, let's say we want to use Bet King. Hope this thing would not. I wouldn't start all over again. Okay. Let's say betking.com. Mm. No, 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 no. They will say it is against their this thing, against their. Let's go with it, Jerry. Let's say betking.com. Let me see their real website. Okay, continue. Just can see and change information that you send or receive from the site. Mm. Okay. Here's what I would advise. Let us use other things in our privacy to learn, to avoid stories that touch. This is Bet King. Um, Based of the ethics of our teachings, please, here's what I would even suggest. Whenever you are in your private world, not just to break into something, you can explore to certain lengths, not just use everything you see randomly, but there are some things you can explore to. Uh, okay, someone is saying that so Facebook already knows someone is attacking their servers. No, no, maybe with the record of the class they would know, but we are not attacking it. What we are doing is there's a difference when we attack, though it's right attack there, but we are not really attacking it. We are only saying generate something for us that is in your server, that is in the database of this website that has been hosted.
Yeah.
So when we
Okay.
are attacking it is when we are using something like admin. If we are using administration privilege, then that becomes an attack because you are having access that once you have that access, you can decide to crumble the whole Facebook, or
So
you can decide to just have access to different information. Yeah.
so what you're saying that we cannot use let's assume admin at gmail.com, admin at yahoo.com, so on and so forth. Especially
I
some of
don't
us
know
that
what.
some of us we are in US, especially I'm in US. I don't want any any trouble from them. And I hope.
Yeah. No, just because we are practicing it this way does not mean we are attacking anyone yet. We are not attacking.
Okay.
We are
Okay.
just at the step two. It's just like you looking at these things and saying, "Oh, why are this information accessible to the public?" It is because you have not secured your site enough. You
Okay.
understand? There are
Okay.
millions and millions of websites, and these websites are not secured. So the idea is, why are you not securing this particular site? For me, when you are so good to some of those organizations, you can reach out to them and just say, okay, this is what I've seen, this is what I've seen about your website. It is not that secured. And that's how we have been able to get a lot of jobs with different organizations with those particular stuff. And they're like, okay, help us secure it, help us test it, let the web developer do something. You can give them, that's what they call being a consultant, consultation. So you can tell them, okay, you can add this to it, you can make sure it is more protected so that these things will not fully be accessible to anyone. So
Okay.
that's just it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you'll be surprised that when we go towards this route, you'll be surprised. I really don't want to say certain things, but most most institutions, like government institutions, like real big institutions, they are also not protected. And even if they are protected, if you are good enough, regardless of their protection, there are a lot of things that can still be done. The only thing is that we just use it on the ethical side to say, okay, let's protect, let's protect. You can use admin if you want to use admin. It doesn't matter. Nobody is looking at anything. The only thing is when you use somebody's account and you are now using it to transfer money from year to year, you know, that's where it becomes an issue. Or using it to write message for somebody else to give, that's when it becomes an issue. Or breaking without somebody giving you the permission to, that becomes an issue. There are a lot of things that we could have done, but I would not say those things here. Um, there are classes that we would have, and those classes will not be recorded. That is when some of these things we would dive deeper into some of the things. So those classes will not be recorded. So I believe we get the picture of how to use the user generator. Now, same thing can be used. You can also use something like brute force attack to create also a username. For example, you can use brute force attack as a username generator. Um, what is this? It's still loading. That's one thing about the Bet King. Their page is too big. Let me cancel this and please, if there's anything I've mentioned in this username generator that you don't understand, ask before we move to the next one. Or if there's any question you want to ask, feel free to ask.
Yeah, the username generator, is it someone's username in Facebook data page or a new one that we generate ourselves?
No, it is the one that is in Facebook already. We are
Okay.
not generating it ourselves. We are
Oh,
looking at all the things, their database, things
okay
that
then.
are within
Okay.
their database. Yes. So
Mm.
what people can do most times is that one person can just have 200,000 of Facebook customers.
Mm.
And then you can use that to email those people. Now, there's something most of us do not really understand. With these things that we are getting from the website, you can clone exactly that website with this information. You can clone exactly the website. Like there's not going to be one single difference between Facebook and your Facebook. And then the only difference that might be there is that maybe facebook.com, yours might be facebookm.com, or your own can be mfacebook.com. And then imagine send somebody to click that link and that person now put in their email and password. You already have it even without you. Maybe you send it to random people like update your Facebook, blah, blah, blah. There's a way you persuade people and you just send that link to all those email addresses that you know are valid because you have already generated all the valid ones in their server. And then you send message to all those people and at least 50% will click on the link. They would not be sure that it is not Facebook. And when they click on it, they are seeing exactly the page and then they put in their information without you even stressing yourself. You can have multiple information from a lot of individuals. Sarah, but that's when you build your own website, actually. I hope I'm not talking like I'm teaching people scam here.
No, not at all.
It's just for educational purpose.
Yes,
just for
for
education.
educational. Yeah, because when you know this, then you can easily know how to protect others from situations like that. You tell them you have to double check, you have to cross check.
That's me.
Yeah. So let's say facebook.com. Um, okay. I think we are done with this particular aspect since there's no question on user generator or username generator. You can use username generator. You can use brute force attack also to generate names. For example, in the brute force attack, let's say for you go to something like this and you say John, and then you say blah blah blah, just anything, and you don't have the username or the password. One of the things you can do is come here and say
Excuse me, sir.
send to
You are
intruder.
not.
Please, somebody's
You say
mic
what?
is on. Please,
Hello, sir. That page is not
Yeah.
properly displayed. The page that you are displaying, you are sharing, it's not good.
It's bold, though.
Yeah.
You can see clearly.
I think
it's
it's
Oh, it's
bold.
bold.
You can
bold.
bold
It's
it
not
from your
valid.
system.
Maybe from
Bold
your
it from
Yeah.
your
system.
system.
Uh,
Mm.
oh,
Okay. So one of the things we can do is sending it to intruder. You can decide to highlight and add, decide to highlight and add, and then you can decide under brute force attack.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 minute. Sorry to interrupt you. What do you
Okay.
highlight? You highlight the username and you also highlight the password, or you only highlight the username?
No, I highlight both the username and the password. If you look at it clearly, you will see the dollar sign here, you see the dollar sign here, you see the dollar sign, you see the dollar sign.
Okay, you highlight the
Now
username, then add, then you highlight the
add,
password,
then
then
highlight
add.
the password and you say add. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
exactly.
That's a mistake I've
So
been making. Okay.
yeah. So when you come to character sets, it already has all the character you need. The only thing you need to do is you can start 4 4, or you can start 5 5, or you can start 6 6, or you can start 7 7. Or you can decide to include payload to it. Once you set it up, if you set it 4 4, you can start attack. Let's say we say 4 4. While 4 4 is loading, you can still minimize and you turn this to 5 5.
Mm. So, sir, what about that
And
URL encoding character? Should it be on?
yeah, no, it can be on. It can be on.
Okay.
Most times it should be on. Yeah. There you can say 6 6. Though we know this is going to take time, we can't finish, but it's something you can take your time and practice on it. Now, what are the difference? You can see that in this particular one, it is mixing characters, 6 characters. The other one, this one, it's 5 characters. It's mixing them up, mixing 5 characters. And the last one, it's mixing characters, 4 characters. So depending on the amount of characters you want it to pick, it can use that to generate username and password. Or if you're focusing on password, yes, you can use it for only password. If you're focusing on username, I would say you can use username generator to do that. There are other things we would need to touch, but we would not be able to touch them here.